Hello friends, I hope you guys are doing good. So today I'm going to cover analytical functions. So similar to the aggregate functions, right? Analytical functions are also there. The way we are using the aggregate functions and analytical functions is quite different. So I will cover that what do we mean by analytical functions, where we should use, how is the performance, and then we will also try to go through some real hands-on queries. Okay. So most of you are already using aggregate functions in your day-to-day activities, right? So if you see count, then average, sum, all those things, right? All those type of functions can be used as aggregate. They can also be used in analytical as well, right? So aggregate functions basically will do the calculation and then return single value. When I say single value means suppose there are four records in your four rows, basically four rows in your result set, right? Query result set. So when you put the aggregate functions, right? So the number of rows will become less, right? So it will not give you the four rows every time. So whatever function you are using, right? According to that, it will give you a lesser number of records, right? According to the calculation. In analytical functions, that is not the case. For each row, the value would be calculated and it would be returned. So there are 10 rows, you are putting some analytical functions, 10 rows are going to get returned, right? Now group by is must in aggregate, right? Whatever you use, count, average, sum, group by is required. In analytical functions, even if you don't write group by, right, for certain cases, that would also work. So like syntax wise, I am saying, if you don't put the group by, then also your query will not fail. You will get the result. Now, depending upon your use case, we will have to decide what function we need to do and if group by is required or not. Now, functions which can be used for aggregate can also be used for analytical, right? So count is there, average, sum, etc. Similarly, there are other functions as well, but there are certain functions which can be used as the analytical functions, but you cannot use them as aggregate. Lead, lag, ronum, rank, there are certain more as well, right? So we will cover those as well. So now let me give you the example of one query where we can use aggregate function of uh, average and how it can be used as a analytical function. So the thing is that why we want to use it as an analytical function, right? So in this world, right, there are a lot of dashboards which are there. Reporting is being done in lot many projects, right? So the purpose of the dashboard or reporting is what? To represent the information in a easy way. So it is more easier to read the information, right? So similarly, for these analytical functions, what happens actually in case of reporting, these are going to be very useful. Right, so suppose there is a client which needs any particular type of report where some business logic is required, you can achieve it in a very easy way with the help of the analytical functions. Now let me give you one example, right? So this is the employee table, okay, as you can see. So suppose I want to I want to get average salary of each department, right? A very simple thing, right? So maybe what I will write, average salary of each department, hmm, department ID, and then group by uh, department ID, right? You got it. So this average salary, okay, let me put round over here. So we will take round of 2 for the salary, okay, comma 2. So now it is telling me that department number 100 is having the round or sorry average salary of 8601. But the point is that this is just giving you the information about the department and salary. But I want to know that okay, where is the employee name, right? So it would have been more better if employee name is coming, right? Employee name, phone number, email, hire date, date of birth, or whatever is there. And then in front of that, if the average salary is written, right, of that department, then it will give me a good look, right? At least I will have a lot of information at a one place. Now I have only department ID and then average salary. But who is working in this department? I don't know. Either I will have to make some join, right, of two queries and all. Similarly, for the other information. So let me rewrite this query. by using the analytical function. Same average function as the analytical, right? So let's select now star from employees. Let me see what are the columns are there which we can use. So let me take employee ID, hmm, first name, then last name, then maybe salary, and then department. Okay, right. Now we will do the same thing, right? We will try to take the average salary for each department. Okay, but that should be populated in front of every record, right? So at least I would be able to see, okay, Steven is working in what department? Department number 90, and what is the average salary of the department number 90, right? So what should I write over here? So I will write average of salary, right? Similar to what we have done in the above query. Over. Over is the something which we need to put it in the syntax. And then there are two things. One is partition by clause, and then one is order by clause. Partition is something how you want to group by the records, right? For the calculation, for the running calculation. So for example, when I say 90, so now in 90 department, I want to get the average salary. Similarly, group by the department ID and then give me the average salary. So I will have to over here I am writing group by department ID. So similarly, I will have to write partition. Partition is something on what column you want to do the group by. Partition by department ID. And the other thing is that if there is anything right in you want to do as a order by, so there are certain functions lead, lag, and all. I will come to that as well. There order by clause can definitely help you, but in case of average, whatever is the order right, average will be same. So let us not use that. Right now, this one. Okay. So I have got the average as well. Let me rename the column. So I will put it as average department DEPT salary. Okay. And let me take the round of 2. So if you see department number, okay, suppose 100. Let me take the example of 100. Department number 100 is having average salary of 8601. So Nancy is working in department number 100 and her average salary is 8601 and her salary is 12008. Now, if I run the above query, the first one, right, I can see that, okay, 100 department ID had the 8601 as average salary. So these are the same examples. One is done by department, sorry, by analytical, and one is being done by aggregate. Now the difference is the information, right? Running totals, running calculations, reporting, all those things can be achieved by analytical functions. Let us consider a simple and a other example, right? So there is a higher date is there, right? If you see over here, select star from employees. Okay, so higher date is there, right? Now I want to know what is the difference of in days, what is the difference in date between two higher dates, right? So that I can understand, okay, what was the longest duration when two employees have joined and who were those two employees. I want to know that. Got the question? So the question is that write a query to identify the longest gap in the hiring date of two employees. Simple. So how you can do that? First of all, so first of all, we will have to write the query in this way: order by hire date, and AC will be fine, right? Hire date. Okay. So then now I need to get the difference between these two dates, right? These two dates. So how to get the difference between these two dates? That is also quite tricky. Then what we can do? Then we can simply do the calculation and we can get the number of days. So I want this particular day, hire date of William in front of Lex, right? So 7 should come over here, then this 16 should come over here. So by this way, what will happen? By this way, we would be able to understand that what is the hire date of the subsequent employee, right? Subsequent joining employee. and then we can do the calculation, means we will do the subtraction of these two dates, which will give me the number of days between the joining of the two employees. Okay, so let me put it like this: employee ID, comma, first name, last name, and then maybe email is not required. I think salary we should take, department ID we should take, and then hire date, right? Hire date. Hmm. Okay, so now this is the case. Now what we will do, we will try to use one analytical function, right? So there are two functions, lag and lead. Okay, lag actually gives you the previous value of the row, right? Value of the previous row, and lead gives you the value of the subsequent row. Okay, so now over here I want the next record value in the current record, so I will have to use the lead function. Lead, lead, what column we will want to have a lead? Hire date, then over what? So now we don't want to use the partition, right? We will write order by order by hire date. Let me give it as HD. Okay, so now if you see over here, hire date of Lex is over there, and then William was the subsequent employee, right, joining after Lex. So William's joining date is also coming in the column HD. So basically, when I say lead, right, lead means the value of the next record will come into the same record. So 7602 is now coming it over here. If you take example of 71202, now 71202 is coming in this record, right? If I would have used lag, lag would do what? Lag will take the record, the current record, and put it into the next record. Now lead is taking the next record, putting it into the current record. Okay, so now we need to do the subtraction as well, right, to get the number of days. There are two ways. Either you can use the outer query, or you can use the same function in a same query. So what I'm going to do, I will write this minus hire date, and let me give the column name as difference, joining days difference, right? Joining days difference, right? So now you can see that how the data is coming. So let's joined on certain date. After 510 days, William joined. And William, Herman, Suzanne, everyone joined on the same date. After 70 days of Suzanne joined, Shelley joined. So now by this way, you can easily tell that who has joined after whom and has taken how many number of days. Right, when there was the very long gap. So if you can see, right, more than 1 year gap is there, and then 102, 145. These are the very big gaps actually, right? Now when I see 0 means all the employees have joined on the same day. So now 0. Okay, so William and Suzanne, everyone joined on the same date. Then anyone else? Okay, this is also 0. It means Brittany and Alberto also joined on the same date, right? Sorry, Alberto and Lindsay, they both joined on the same date. So similarly, we can try to figure out, right? So, suppose if there's a requirement that how many employees have joined on the same date, that also you can tell from this query, right? You will have to write one outer query and put joining days difference equal to 0, right? Same thing you can, if that is the only query which you need to write, you can rewrite that query without using the analytical functions as well, right? What you can do, you can put the group by on the hire date and take the count as uh, more than 0. That will also give you how many number of people have joined on the same date, right? If you want, I can write that also. So if there is a query that how many employees have joined on the same days, irrespective whatever date was there, on the same date, if more than one employee have joined, right? how many dates are there. You can simply put the query over here and you can get it. Similarly, you can do that from the aggregate function as well. You can put the group by on the higher date, right, and put the count more than 0. That will also give you the same thing, right? But if you want to get the difference in joining days, then lead will be required, right? So that is one case, right? Then there are other functions. Rank function is there. I hope everyone would have heard about rank, dense rank and all, right? So if I want to, get the rank of the for each department, I want to get a rank of employee who has the highest salary, right? So how you can do that? You can do that with the help of uh, rank. So if you want, I can show that as well. It is a very simple query. Let me write it down, right? So salary is already there. Now what I want is I simply want to use the rank over, right? So for each department who is having the highest salary, right, that should be put as a rank 1. So it should be rank, then okay, it will not accept any parameter over. There are two ways. If you want the rank on a full table, right, without on the department ID, you don't need to give the partition clause. Otherwise, you will have to give the partition clause. So partition by department ID, order by salary. Now I want the maximum salary as a rank 1. So I will have to write DESC over there, right? Then RR or RK. That is the column name. So if you see, okay, department ID, right? Now in department ID 10, Jennifer is rank 1. In department ID 20, Michael is having rank 1. So if you see, there are two ranks, right? There are two people in department number 20, but it is having 13,000 salary. So that is rank 1. Similarly over here, right? So now there can be cases where more than one rank, is more than one rank is actually assigned to the same people, right? In that case, what will happen? Both of the employees will be assigned as a rank 1. So there are, if the salary of two-person is same in same department, both would be assigned the same rank, right? Let me see if there is any such example over there. 36,000. This one is the example, right? If you see over here, right? So in the department 50, there are two employees who are having 3600 salary. So that is why they both have assigned as rank 11 because both have the same value. After that, whatever subsequent record is there, right? Trina. So Trina is assigned as a rank 13. So there is no rank 12. That's how the ranking system works. But suppose if you want subsequent ranks, right? If you want after 11, 12 should come, then you can use the dense rank over here, right? Dense rank. So let me go to the same example. Department was 50 and 3600 was the salary. Sorry, 3300, 3600, this one, right? Department 50. So if you see now, both have the rank 11, but after that, Trina is now having the rank 12. If you don't use dense rank, it will come as 13. So no immediate rank will be assigned in case of only using rank. That is one function, right? Dense rank, then lead, I told you, average sum, all count, all of those will still work as it is. Then there are a lot of other functions as well. WM concat is one of them, list tag is one of them. I will cover those maybe in some other videos, but that is the difference between analytical functions and aggregate functions. Now coming to the performance, right? So now I have read some journals where it has mentioned that analytical function will take more time and all. So it will see there are multiple factors, right? First of all, what is your use case? How you are using the aggregate functions on what columns, whether that column is indexed or not, right? If you are using group by without a index column, it is going to take some time. Similarly, on a uh, analytical functions, then it will depend how many index are there, how what is the index which you are using, and then what is the data size in that table, right? How complex is that query? Everything is happening in the in-memory only, right? For these calculations most of the time. So we cannot, we cannot certify that, okay, every time aggregate will take more time than analytical, right? Because calculations will also still remain same, right? Calculation is same. The only thing is you are getting the result for each row. In that case, you are getting only the result for one or two rows, right? Because it is combining the result. So I think we should be good for today. You would have the better understanding now how analytical functions work and how aggregate functions work. If there is any query, concern, confusion, please let me know in comments. Okay. Thank you for your time.